Story of Project 2025, Part 1. A very brief history of the Heritage Foundation. To understand Project 2025, you have to understand the Heritage Foundation, created during the Nixon administration by Joseph Coors, a far-right extremist whose paranoia once made him force his employees to take lie detector tests. We'll have more on Coors in a later video, but suffice it to say he's a real piece of work. Branding itself a think tank, the Heritage Foundation took its considerable money and influence to Washington, D.C. to champion explicitly racist, anti-science, anti-worker, anti-woman philosophies. They provided funds and legal support to a preacher who bombed schools he deemed too multicultural. They lobbied for decades to keep gay marriage illegal and provided money to the ADF, a designated hate group. And they blamed the families for the shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Their actions and agenda are so clearly evil, it's hard to make a caricature of them. The current president of the extremist Heritage Foundation has explicitly stated that religious devotion and spirituality are the only ways to live, and that the goal of government is to conform to his specific religious beliefs. This was their guide as they sat down to write Project 2025, their Bible for the future. What is Project 2025? Part 2. Donald Trump's mandate for extremist religious control of every aspect of your life. In 1981, the Heritage Foundation began their Mandate for Leadership series. These roadmaps are given to politicians as a guide for how to coordinate extreme conservative views across government departments, from the federal to local level. Trump received one of these political Bibles in 2016 and religiously followed it step by step. The foundation staffed his White House, something no think tank has ever done. He instituted a ban on Muslims at their bidding. He created the largest tax cut for billionaires ever, and essentially did whatever they asked. In many ways, while Trump was elected, it was the Heritage Foundation who was president. A majority of Trump White House staff was brought on to craft the newest version of the mandate, known now as Project 2025. And while Trump himself says he's never heard of it, that is a clear, bold-faced, and pathetic lie. Donald Trump, along with other 2024 Republican candidates, received one-on-one briefings on Project 2025, just as the Heritage Foundation has done for countless other elections. On top of that, the majority of authors are former and current members of his campaign and White House, people he's worked closely with for over a decade now. The only possible answer as to why he'd lie about this is sheer panic. Even Donald Trump realizes just how insane and just how radical his administration will be, and he is determined to hide his intentions from American voters. Because if he's elected, our country is about to become a radical, extremist religious theocracy. What is Project 2025? Part 3. A Dictator's Dream. Project 2025 and Donald Trump believe in their made-up term called the Unitary Executive Theory. Their stated goal is to utterly destroy the government and bring everything under the control of a single man, Donald Trump, who is immune from prosecution and not beholden to any laws himself, with complete and utter control over everything. They will do away with the separation of powers, remove all checks and balances, and institute mass prosecutions, jailing anyone who disagrees with them. Steve Bannon, one of the Heritage Foundation's choices for a senior position, stated loudly, "We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. We're going to come after you." Bannon, who is currently in prison for fraud, stated he would hunt down any dissidents and traitors. There is no doubt that Project 2025 is a wish list of a dictator. Its written and declared intent is to install Donald Trump as a king who has complete say over federal, state, and local laws, able to create and ignore them at his whim, and creating authoritarian states so vast we could no longer in good conscience call our country America. So much for small government Republicans.